Chapter 6 in your book is all about creating, sorting, and querying a table. So if you start reading Chapter 6 beginning in your text on page 346, you will see that you are going to be using tables, which can also work in Excel kind of the same way that databases work, and those are organized collections of data. The project that you're going to be working on as you work through Chapter 6 is creating a coastal realty agent commission table. On page 348 of your book, you were given kind of the parameters that your spreadsheet and your table need to meet. And it talks a little bit about having to sketch out, what all needs to be included on your spreadsheet before you actually begin designing a spreadsheet. I think that this is a really important chapter for you all because most of the time in a job, you're not going to be necessarily starting from scratch or from a data file like you have been, with very, very specific things that you're being asked to do to it, but you are going to have to, take information that you're given and know how to develop a spreadsheet that shows what you need to show just based on the information that you have. So you will need to start reading on page 346, and on page 350 you're going to be asked to open one of your student data files. The data file that you're asked to open should look something like this. It is called or named Coastal Realty Agent Commissions, and one of the first things that you're going to be asked to do to this data file is save it as Coastal Realty Agent Commission Table. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm just going to save it to my desktop, but of course you'll want to save it to wherever you normally save your files. And then, starting on page 351, you're going to be reading about creating tables in Excel. And this is one of my favorite tools to use in Excel. And there are some things to think about, some different guidelines for creating tables in Excel, such as looking at the table size and workbook location, column headings, and the contents of the table. And those are all listed for you on page 351. So when you create a table, the first thing that you have to do is you have to format the range as a table. So in this case, and please remember that in these videos I might kind of skip around a little bit, so you'll need to read the chapter to make sure you're following each step correctly. I'm just kind of hitting the highlights here. But in this case, the range that you're going to format as a table is going to be A8 through G21. So I'm just going to select A8 through G21, and you can see in your Styles group on the Home tab there is a Format as Table button. So when you click that or tap that, you will see lots of different table options, and the book of course will give you a pretty specific option to choose. It's, I believe, going to be the Table Style Medium 6, and I'm just going to pick one. Actually, I'll pick that right one. Remember, if you hover over each style, it will pop up and show you the name of that style. The important thing here to notice is that when you choose a range for your table, you're going to have to check whether or not your table has headers. You can see that by default, it thinks that this range does have headers, and if we look at the range, each of our table columns absolutely does have a header, so I'm just going to click OK. And now, as you can see, all that data is formatted as a table. The nice thing about data being formatted as a table is that not only does it look a little bit more professional, but it turns each of our column headings into a really obvious heading. They will wrap within the cells if I change the widths if I need to, and then I also have the filter button here, so I can very easily sort and do text filters in my row or columns that have text, and I can do really specific text filters, and then I have number filter options in any of my columns that have numbers. As you keep going through the chapter, on pages 353 through 355, 55, you're going to be doing some different things in this Table Tools tab on your ribbon. Now, notice that if I don't have anything in the table selected, I don't have Table Tools, but as soon as I select the table, I do have Table Tools there for me. So this is where I can do things such as name the headings. I can resize the table if I need to, and then I can also change some things with my table options and my table styles.